We're going to finish up with the mechanics on the mound. We're going to take everything we've learned with the grip, the release, and those drills, and then we're going to put it on the mound with the stride or the finish and the stance, and then just go through the finishing part of the mechanics. But then I really want to focus on this video on strategy and tactics, and maybe even more than that, the mental approach, because the strategy and tactics, those are things that you'll learn over time. It takes a lot of experience on the mound, facing a lot of hitters, a lot of different styles, game situations. There's going to be a lot of just many different scenarios that you'll go through as a pitcher. And, there's no way that me or anyone else can put a video together to teach you all those things. That's just something that you'll learn. But I think you can probably go into it with the right mental approach. That's I guess what I probably should emphasize more than anything else, because typically, in softball, in slow pitch softball, we've always been told, hey, it's a hitter's game. You just have to accept the fact they're gonna beat you up. They're gonna hit you hard everywhere, and to a certain extent, that's true. Especially if it's compared to, say, baseball or maybe fast pitch softball, that sort of thing. Yeah, you're going to get hit a lot more. But the reality is this: you're not really competing against the other team's hitters. You're not competing against the other team's defense. You're competing against your opponent's pitcher. That's who you're competing against. So you have to remember that your opponent's pitcher has the same disadvantage as you do. So, if he gives up 15 runs and you give up 13 runs, you win. That's just the way it is. So it's better not to look at it in absolute terms, like, wow, I gave up 14 runs tonight. Well, and maybe your team only scored 12. Well, that's not the way you have to look at it. You have to look at it like, if your team was hitting as well as theirs, would you have scored 18 or 20? And that's not to blame your team. That's not even the point. The point is to look at your pitching in proportion or in relationship to the game, and not look at it compared to, say, baseball. Softball, baseball, diamond sports are the only sports where the defense has possession of the ball. If you look at basketball and soccer and football and lacrosse and hockey, even with the puck, the offense always has possession of the ball. But in baseball and softball, the defense has possession of the ball. The hitter has to respond to you. It's not the other way around. The hitter has to react to where you put the ball. He cannot hit a ball where it's not. In other words, if you throw that ball down and in, he has to hit a down and in pitch. If you pitch that ball up and away, he has to hit a ball that's up and away. So he has to respond to you. You initiate the play. The defense initiates the play, and you are kind of like the tip of the spear, because you are the pitcher. You initiate the play of the defense. So in that sense, what I would do is encourage you to develop an aggressive attitude as the pitcher. It doesn't matter if they hit 5 home runs in a row. They have to respond to your pitch, okay? Now, if they hit 5 home runs in a row, you're probably not doing a great job at controlling the game, at initiating the game. So that's the way you have to look at it. The ball, nothing happens until you pitch the ball, all right? And the batter cannot do anything with a ball that you don't give him. Here's the other thing: strikes and balls. And I've talked about this in some other videos. I think too many pitchers get into this situation where they're conscious of balls and strikes, and that's what they're thinking about, balls and strikes. They're thinking about throwing strikes. You got to throw strikes. That's such an old cliche. You have to throw strikes. You don't have to throw strikes. There's no rule that says you have to throw strikes. All right? What you need to do is get the batter to swing the bat. That's a different thing altogether. If you can get the batter to hit a ball, why would you throw a strike? See? So that's what I'm saying. If you get too oriented on balls and strikes, then you start getting in that routine. Well, I've got to throw a strike here. Well, maybe. Sometimes you do. But I'm saying is if you don't want to think that way, what you want to think in such a way is, what can I pitch up there and get this guy to take a hack at it? That's what the way you need to think. And forget this balls and strike stuff, especially as your command improves. If you get to the point where you can throw a strike on the corner whenever you have to, then you don't have to throw anything. All right? You don't have to throw some big old meatball down the middle of the plate. There's no way. And the better you get as a pitcher, the better your command. And here's another thing. Walks are not the worst thing in the world. Let me tell you why. If say you have base runners on and you walk a guy, guess what? There's no extra bases on a walk, right? Say there's a runner on first or a runner on second. If you walk the guy, the runner on base, he's not going anywhere. That's a whole lot better than a ball hit in the gap. Anytime. I'd rather walk a guy than, give him one to hit in the gap. And you're saying, well, you're putting him on base. Well, in softball, he had a better than 50-50 chance of getting on the base anyway. So what's better? What I'm saying here is what you need to do mentally and as an attitude, you need to challenge conventional wisdom when it comes to softball. A walk is not the worst thing in the world every time. Okay? So that's where that goes back to balls and strikes. Get out of this mentality. Oh, I got a ball or two balls, no strikes, I got to throw a strike. No. Because what that does, it takes your focus away from what your real job is. Your real job is to get that guy to hit the ball into an out. That's your job. Not to throw him, a strike necessarily. Now, if you have to throw a strike, fine, throw a strike. But what you want to do is make sure that it's a strike that's not the best strike to hit. Okay. And I'll tell you another thing about softball guys, hitters. Hitters' mentalities, they did not work all week and come to the game on Tuesday night or Thursday night or Friday to come up there and walk twice. Believe me, they do not want to walk. Those guys will hit marginal pitches because they came to swing the bat. So if they're going to hit a marginal pitch, why would you throw a meatball? I mean, really? Do you come to the game? I mean, even me as a pitcher, I don't come to the game to walk. I mean, I'm looking for a nice fat pitch to hit myself, right? And a lot of times I'll hit a marginal pitch because I want to hit the ball. That's what guys want to do. So if that's the starting point for most guys and they want to hit a ball, why would you throw a meatball? Really? I mean, why would you throw one? If you throw a pitch that they're not sure about, especially if you develop a good breaking pitch, hey, don't throw meatballs, okay? That's not good. Fat pitches lose games. That's just the way it is. So, I mean, you're going to throw a fat pitch here and there. And I mean, nobody's perfect. I throw fat pitches, but believe me, and when I do, I know it. And when I throw a fat pitch, I know it's a mistake. I don't care if the guy pops up, and my shortstop catches it. If I throw it fat down the middle and the guy misses it and he pops it up, I just dodged the bullets. What happened? That's not all. I didn't do nothing. I just got away with a mistake. That's all that means. So, and I don't look at it that way. I don't look at outs and I don't look at base hits. That's not the way to look at your game. The way to look at your game is, did he hit a tough pitch if he hits me in the gap and it was a great pitch, I mean, I know it was a nasty pitch to hit, it was a hard pitch to hit, especially if I know that batter, and he doesn't hit, say for example, I'm pitching to a guy and he can never go the other way. I mean, he's always, if he goes the other way, he grounds out or he rolls it over or, he pops it up and he lines one down the first baseline over the first baseman's head, and it was a perfect pitch, on the inside. Dude, that's not on me. So I got to let that go. But if I just lay one out there, about 18 inches high on the outside corner, and I know he wants to go that way or is trying to go that way, or I know that if he goes that way, it's going to hurt me because I've got a runner on first and he's going to end up on third or maybe even scoring, you know. And I meant to pitch him inside and I missed and just left it out there for him to just poke it over the first baseman's head. Hey, that's on me. And if I leave it out there and he pops it up to the first baseman, hey, that's no big deal. That's nothing for me to brag about. I got away with a mistake. So that's the difference. I leave one out there and he pops it up to my second baseman. I don't take any pride in that. That was a mistake on me. I got away with. But I throw it inside on his shoelaces and he hits it over the first baseman's head. Hey, and that runner on first, he goes to third or scores. I tip my hat to him. Hey, he had a tough pitch, but I did my job. And I'm not going to beat myself up over it. But if I pitch it outside and he hits it, a little pop-up to my second baseman, I'm going to beat myself up over that one, even though I got the out. Because I know the chances are, I got lucky. Let me just put it that way. I got lucky. I hit the pitch. He hit a tough pitch, and I got lucky. Or he got lucky, and he hit a tough pitch, and he, got that base hit or that RBI. So that's the way you have to look at the game. Don't look at outs. Don't look at hits. Look at where you're throwing look at where you're pitching the ball. So that's what I'm talking about, strategy and tactics. That's going to come with experience, but you have to change the mental attitude that you come up with. That is what's going to dictate your long-term success. From game to game, you're going to lose games, you're going to win games, but your overall average over time is going to improve when you change your mental attitude to quality pitches. Get away from balls and strikes. Make the batter hit your pitch. That's what you want to do. So anyway, I hope I helped you with that, and we'll talk about that later. See ya. Bye.